Hey there, welcome to another episode of Cooking with Violet Vixen. Today we're feeding our sweet tooth. It's a cake. It's going to take a while to make, but I've got a little bit of time this morning into this afternoon to do this. So let me tell you what we're doing. It is called chocolate cake with white chocolate icing. Here's what we need for the cake. This is what we need for the frosting. And there's a little bit of a coconut treat in between, because once the cake's done, we've got to let it cool, slice it in half, make a sandwich. It will be delicious. So come on in. I'm going to talk you through the ingredients. Okay, so I'm sort of organized because I've got everything ready. So first things first, preheat your oven to 160 degrees. Grab yourself a round cake pan, preferably with a base that you can lift out, and grease it and line it with your baking paper. You'll also need a saucepan and a bowl and a sieve. So it's fairly easy. You don't need your mixer, which is great. Okay, other things are 300 grams of dark chocolate chopped. Now, when you buy it, normally it's in 200 gram lots, so that means there's 100 grams left over. Yum. 350 grams of butter chopped. Now, there's two different butters in this. I'll get to the other one later. That's salted butter. 1 cup of evaporated milk. That's that one that comes in the tin. 1 2/3 cups of caster sugar. 2 cups of plain flour, 1/3 of a cup of cocoa. There we go. 4 eggs lightly beaten. I've popped them in to a jug and beaten them. For the frosting, it's 250 grams of unsalted butter, 2.5 cups of icing sugar. I have measured it out, but that's what it looks like. And 180 grams of white chocolate melted. I had 3 squares left over. Thank you. All right, and also 1 cup of moist coconut flakes. Now, I had these. There wasn't quite a cup. I was in Aldi, couldn't get these ones. These ones are better than the shredded coconut, but I've got a mixture, so it doesn't really matter. So the shredded coconut looks like cheese or noodles, and the other one is a nice little flake. So let's get ready to go. Now, there's a very important tip for people that are just learning to cook. When melting chocolate, never use a wooden spoon. Apparently, if you've got a little bit of moisture in the spoon, it can cause the chocolate to seize. Now, as you saw, that was 2 blocks of dark chocolate. Unless you've got spare chocolate on hand, you don't want to do it. Just use a metal spoon. You can either use that size or the one that I normally use for serving. I'm just happy enough to use that one. All right, so now that you know the important part, into this goes the butter, the salted, not the unsalted. Okay, I'm going to turn it on to high just to start and get it all melting. The chocolate, just break it up. You don't have to make it super small. It just melts quicker when it's smaller. The 1 cup of evaporated milk. And the caster sugar. Okay. Now, once that starts to melt, turn it down because you don't want it to melt too quickly. Okay, so once you can start to hear it boiling, as I say, turn it down and just stay with it and stir it for a little bit. As you can see, everything's melting beautifully. We just want all the butter and all the chocolate to melt, and you will stop hearing like a grainy sound. The grainy sound is just the sugar. Okay, so when that final stubborn piece of butter melts like it has, remove this from the heat. We need it to cool. So come on over and I'll show you what there it is. Pesky piece of butter. Once that's gone, we're good to go. Let's go over to the other side of the kitchen and we're going to start and sift the dry ingredients. So one really cool thing you can do when you're like buying stuff for your kitchen is try and find a sieve that actually fits over a bowl, because it will do you it'll be really good because you can sift and you've got the same bowl. I do have a bowl and a sieve, but then the bowl's too small, so I'd have to put it into another bowl. And then I've got a smaller sieve again, which means it takes longer. So this is the best way to go. So in goes our 2 cups of flour, straight in, give it a shake. See how easy that is? Except for when you make it look like it's snowing. And in goes the cocoa. Same deal again, give it a shake. I've got handy pink spatula ready to go, so just going to push these bits through. There's always stubborn bits. Alright, push them through. Okay. We're going to stir in the eggs next. So whenever you've got dry ingredients and you're adding wet ingredients, what you need to do, just mix those two in first. You need to make yourself a well. Now a well is literally a thing that you put, well, that you collect your water from. Luckily we don't do that now, we turn taps on. But you just want a bit in the middle. So what we're going to do is put the eggs in there. And we've got to wait for the chocolate mixture to cool just a little bit. I don't really know the reasoning for that because it's going in the oven. But I'll just do what it tells me to do. Alright, so mix this in. Going to go and grab the chocolate over so it's off the oven, it'll cool quicker. Even though I've left it in the same saucepan, allow it to cool to room temperature. Well, we are in the beginning of winter, so it's still hot. Not the room temperature, the chocolate mixture. Yeah, see, it's not really mixing well without that. All right. I'm going to put a bit of the chocolate in. Because I don't think it can hurt. There are ways to cool chocolate down quicker. You can put it in the fridge. You can put it in the freezer, but then you've got to watch that it doesn't start to get too cold. So when it says room temperature, that's what it means. So just tip a bit in at a time. Because my theory is, what can the harm be? It's going in the oven. I don't know, I'm not a cooking expert, I'm just someone that loves to cook. Maybe if it's not cold it doesn't go light and fluffy or something. It's chocolate cake. It'll be awesome. Oh, beautiful. Yum, look at that. All right, just gonna keep going with it the way I'm going. So it's a very liquidy cake. So basically what it's telling us to do, pour into the pan and bake for 1 hour or until just cooked. Cake will still be tacky in the middle. Stand for 5 minutes before turning out onto a wire rack to cool completely. Now that is when I will cool it completely, because it is easier to cut a cake in half to sandwich it when it's really cold. Let's keep going with this. All right, oh, melted chocolate deluxe. Wow. All you chocolate lovers, you will love this cake. All right, mix it in good. Beautiful. Now it's a very liquidy cake, but this is how you get that really delicious cake. It doesn't go dry. If it lasts that long, it'll be one of those that doesn't dry out. All right, I'm just going to remove this over back to the stove top. Let me wipe under here. All right, I'm making a mess. Chocolatey mess. Okay, get your prepared pan and pour it in. Oh wow, look at that. Yum, yummy. All right, now cook it very low temperature, 160, for 1 hour. If you could start to smell it and you've got one of those ovens like me, don't leave it in any longer. I'm actually going to set my timer for 50 minutes. That way I can always give it the extra 10 minutes if I need to. All right, I'll see you when this is out of the oven. Okay, so I ran out of time before I had to go to the footy because that was important to get to a game finally. So the cake well and truly cooled. I've cut it in half. Now I did say it will still be tacky in the middle. It is. This is the top upside down, and this is the bottom right way up. So now what we're doing is we're frosting it. I've got white chocolate. I'm giving 30-second bursts in the microwave. I normally hate to melt chocolate in the microwave, but given the fact that it's going to be quicker, that's where I'm at the moment. So we've only got a few ingredients for the frosting. So giving it 30-second bursts, and I'm going to use a metal spoon to stir it. So giving it another 30 seconds, then I'll give it a stir and see where we're at. Okay, chocolate's melted. I don't need to really stir it again, but I will. Perfect. I'm going to use the mixer handheld because it doesn't reach otherwise. So basically butter in. Beat the unsalted butter until soft and creamy, and then we're going to add the icing sugar. Okay, the icing sugar we're going to sift through the sieve, a little bit at a time, because this sieve's a lot smaller or finer than the other one. Okay, so we're going to add the icing sugar in. I'll do a bit at a time, because it's sort of awkward trying to beat it in. When it looks literally like whipped butter, it's time to put the white chocolate in, which should be cooled enough. So we're just going to stir this through. My Englishing's good, isn't it? I'm going to stir it through with the metal spoon. Because it said to stir it through, it didn't say to mix it in. And then basically what we're going to do is 3/4 of a cup of it is going to sandwich it. I'm not going to measure out 3/4 of a cup. I'm just going to give it a good guess. We're going to sandwich it together. Then we're going to put the flakes on the top. And then we're going to use the rest on the top. So, get yourself a good spreading knife. I'll find my palette knife now. Grab yourself a big metal spoon because you don't want to be measuring out 3/4 of a cup. I'd do 3/4 of it. And basically just try and spread it. Literally like you're making a sandwich. Because that's what we're doing. We're making a sandwich. Okay, so once you've frosted the middle, pop the top back on top, frost the rest and put some flakes on the top. This has been Cooking with Violet Vixen. Chocolate cake with white icing. I'll catch you next time. Bye!